This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark Magnuson.
Hello and welcome into Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. Thank you for joining us for today's show. In today's episode, I will be joined by Jon Ebert with John Deere. We're going to talk about some of those precision ag upgrades you can make to your existing equipment without having to buy a whole new piece of equipment or a new implement. We will also have a check of the ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
As we finish up the trading day once again in the ag marketplace, we are joined now by Tyler Schau of agmarket.net. Tyler, what did we see happen with the grains today?
Not a lot, to be 100% honest with you. Corn and beans going to close here within a penny of unchanged from yesterday. Wheat probably saw the most negative action. It seems like we can't get any kind of traction on this Ukraine-Russia story unless it's negative traction. And some stories broke early this morning that there might be a possible resumption of the grain corridor or the safety corridor for grain shipments and movements. Pushed your Chicago down about a dime, your Kansas City about 16, 17 cents, and Minneapolis down 14. I don't know that it really matters. They've been shipping grain. There's been lots of stories of ships being sold out of the Ukraine, both corn and wheat, here over the last few weeks. But apparently they got Russia deciding that maybe they don't want to attack any food supplies.
Tyler, staying with the international stories that we have right now as far as ag is concerned, the United States actually sold some wheat to China here recently. I was talking with Jim McCormick this morning. He says, don't remember the last time the United States sold wheat to China. What do you take away from that?
We did a little research in I believe 2021, we sold a little bit of SRW to China. I think the takeaway, China typically gets a lot of, your SRW wheat is, I don't want to say a poorer quality, but it's lower protein wheat. And China typically sources a lot of that through Australia. Australia is currently dealing with a drought, looking at reduced supplies out of that area. So I'm sure China is taking a look around the world, and we're competitive on the world market for the first time in a couple of years, anyhow. And so they're sneaking in and getting some bought up while it's cheap. Might go cheaper. But either way, yeah, that was one little bright spot, and probably the reason we saw SRW futures spike on Monday, and then kind of have reversed course since then.
We know that low river levels on the Mississippi River are creating some problems, causing higher shipping rates. Have we seen any improvement from some of the recent moisture that we've gotten? Has it been enough to change those rates on the river as far as shipping is concerned by raising that river level up just a little bit?
No, and I'm not an expert on the Mississippi River levels. I do know that we're toying with record low levels, like on the Memphis gauge. I believe the record low was set last October, I want to say mid-October, and the most recent reading had the levels actually below or near those record lows from a year ago in October. So I do not believe that, there was some rains in Wisconsin, Minnesota. There was some up here. I heard a customer of mine in central Iowa said they had about 0.05 of an inch last night. I don't think that's going to do enough to raise the river levels. And you're precisely right. The transportation costs are just pretty high. So, the downfall for the entire market, I've talked to a lot of producers say, well, I'm not on a river market, so it won't affect me. But, if the river's not pulling corn, that corn's got to go somewhere. It's going to work its way back to the interior, and it's slowly going to deteriorate the interior basis near these processing plants.
Switching over to the other side of the ag marketplace, I know it was very tough sledding for the cattle market yesterday. Tyler, did we see that again here today?
Kind of the same as grains, really unchanged on the day. Your feeder cattle contracts, your nearby October is going to trade down about 8 cents or 82 cents. The rest of them are all right around unchanged on the day. Fat cattle really didn't do much. Hogs, kind of both sides of unchanged as well. I think the big thing that a person's got to look at is there's some sentiment changing. You can look at all the different commodities, and clearly, you can define a downward trend in the grain markets over the last year and a half. You can define that in the metals. The only two that really were the opposite here recently, anyhow, were cattle and crude. And maybe the sentiment is starting to change there. Crude having a big down day, down about $5 a barrel, down about $10 off the high from just a week ago. So cattle and crude, they're trading off what the market feels like the economy is going to do. And right now, there's not a lot of optimism as far as how the macroeconomy is going to play out over the next few months.
And Tyler, we haven't spoken since we got the latest hogs and pigs report. What was your takeaway from that and kind of what we've seen in the marketplace this week since we got that report?
It was slightly bearish. I think the hog market sold off way more than maybe the hogs and pigs report maybe needed it to. The one of the key takeaways that I would say is pigs per litter did increase. So that means, we're fewer sows are producing more production or about the same production just because the pigs per litter is increasing. The other thing that's weighing on this is, exactly, we kind of talked about it quite a bit when it occurred, but the law changes in California with the hogs that can be brought into California, really what that's just going to do is force that supply to go somewhere else. It can no longer be marketed in the state of California.
Tyler Schau of agmarket.net, our guest here today. Tyler, how can our viewers get in touch for more marketing information?
Look us up on the internet, agmarket.net. If they want to call direct, the numbers 701-987-6009.
A lot of tools for you and your individual marketing plan. Check them out at agmarket.net. Tyler, thank you so much for the time here today. We'll speak again soon. Have a good one.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you to Tyler Schau of agmarket.net for our closing market analysis. Let's turn our attention now to those closing numbers, courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart.
December corn down 1.5 at 486 even. November soybeans up 1/4 cent at 1273 even. October soybean meal up $5.50 at 368.70. October soybean oil down $1.02 at 58.43. Chicago wheat down 8 3/4 at 589 even. Minneapolis wheat down 13 3/4 at 711 3/4. Kansas hard red wheat down 16 3/4 at 666 1/2. March oats down 7 1/2 at 447 even. On the Merc, December live cattle up 37 cents at 186.02. November feeder cattle up 7 cents at 250.42. December lean hogs up 10 cents at 69.17. December pork cutout up 67 cents at 79.90. And Class 3 milk for October down 13 cents at 16.80.
And that's been a check of the Ag Market Recap here on Ag Matters PM. It's time now to take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. And when we come back, I will be joined by Jon Ebert with John Deere. This is AMPM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
You're watching Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. In today's show, I'm joined by Jon Ebert of John Deere. Had a chance to learn about some of the precision ag upgrades that you can make to your existing pieces of equipment that you have on your farm, and therefore don't have to buy a whole new piece of equipment.
Mark Magnuson at the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and I'm here at the Farm Progress Show, and I'm here with Jon Ebert today at the John Deere display. And John was talking, along with the rest of his colleagues today, about the precision upgrades that can be made to your existing John Deere equipment, other equipment that you have with John Deere technology. And John, you focus specifically on some of those harvesting upgrades. What were
some of those pieces of your discussion here today.
Yeah, Mark, we talked a little bit about the upgrades that are available for customers on combines, and since we're just about ready to head into harvest season, thought it was pretty applicable to cover things like cross auger shutoff in the grain tank and aimable spout. So customers that have an S700 series combine between today and model year 2018, you can get that retrofit kit. Allows you to turn off the cross auger so that you can clean the spout out, so you're not going through the field with a spout full of heavy corn, for example. And then aimable spout, which allows a lot of farmers the ability to tip that spout a little bit so you can get the grain tank filled up completely, so you're making sure you're getting the truck full at the end of the field.
John, when it comes to an upgrade like this, I always wonder the starting point. Does this come about from you guys just talking to farmers, sending out surveys? How does this work where it becomes apparent that this is something that does need to be upgraded?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So within the John Deere Precisions Upgrade group, what we do is we take a hard look at things that have a technology component to them and look at the farmers that would adopt that technology. So we wake up every day thinking about, where are components that customers don't have to wait to go buy a new machine or a bigger machine, and how could they take advantage of high-value components in precision and tech-based to get the most out of their equipment. So that's not just combines. That spans from the basic level components, a display that's connected with a modem and a receiver to get your whole farm up to a basic precision ag operating system, as we would say, and then across the planting job, the application or spraying job, and the combine job, where are there opportunities to bring precision and technology to your machine that you've got in the shed.
So another one of those upgrades that you mentioned, the shorter snout. And why is that a issue that has been cropping up and something that felt needed to be addressed by John Deere?
Yeah, so we also have short snouts on the combine, so the two outer snouts that are a little bit shorter than the ones that come from the factory. So if you think about being in hills or on terraces and you're running an A-B line or a curve, we do not want that job to be sacrificed in tight corners and conditions or triangle fields where you're knocking over corn. So short snouts provides you the opportunity to shorten up the outside of that corn head and still get the same productivity and efficiency that you expect out of auto track pass to pass in fields that are not completely flat and square.
And something that I learned today that I didn't know about with John Deere is that you can go to the website, type in the existing equipment you have, and you will get that compatibility report on the upgrades that are able to be made to your existing equipment.
Yeah, absolutely. We encourage everybody that's interested potentially in a precision upgrade to talk to their John Deere dealer, but we just rolled out in planters a configuration tool that when you put your serial number in of your planter, it's going to match to the configuration of your planter what upgrades you'd be eligible for. So it's not any more of this puzzle piece game of, is that component compatible with my planter that may be a 2008 non-electric row unit? Put in your serial number, you'll get a menu of what's compatible with that planter, so you can look at some ballpark prices, configure it yourself, request a quote, and then your dealer will be in touch with you to talk about some options to order and install that upgrade.
So, John, is there anything else you'd like to let our listeners, our viewers know about back in Iowa about the precision upgrades that can be made to their existing equipment, and specifically what we've talked about today with the harvesting side from John Deere?
Mark, I'd leave you with this. We're really excited about what we're doing in precision upgrades because you don't have to wait to buy new from John Deere to get the latest and greatest technology advantages on your farm. We have teams of folks every single day waking up thinking, how are we building and bundling components to get your current fleet upgraded to the latest technology that John Deere has to offer. So we're really excited about that. If you want to learn more, johndeere.com/upgrade, or go talk to your John Deere dealer. We'd be happy to chat with you more.
He's Jon Ebert with John Deere. We're here at Farm Progress 2023 in Illinois. John, thank you so much for the time, and have a great rest of the show.
You too. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you to Jon Ebert of John Deere. It's time now for a check of the ag weather outlook. Cooler temperatures in central Iowa today. After our recent warm-up, we start to slide towards some lower temperatures, which eventually will reach a pretty cool point here as we get closer to the weekend. But as we look at tonight's forecast, it's going to be a pretty quiet evening. Again, those temperatures will dip a little bit lower than we've been used to seeing in the overnight hours. And then tomorrow, we will have just a little bit of a tick downwards again in that temperature range. So let's turn our attention now to the National Weather Service and what's in store for the next 24 hours.
As you can see from the National Weather Service, partly to mostly sunny skies in the forecast for today, and our high temperature range expected 66 to 82. For tonight, partly cloudy to mostly clear, low temperatures 49 to 55. Mostly sunny and breezy for Thursday, highs expected 64 to 77. And time now for our affiliate weather map for Thursday. Cherokee, partly sunny with a high of around 64, the low spot on our map. Shenandoah, sunny with a high of 74. Des Moines, sunny and 75. Albia, expecting sunny and 77 tomorrow. Waterloo, sunny and 74. Clinton, sunny with a high of 76.
And that's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook here on Ag Matters PM. And that also brings us to the end of this episode. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can find all of our video content on our YouTube channel. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe. Click on that notification bell as well. That icon will let you know whenever we have any new videos available for you to view. Also, you can listen to our free twice daily market podcast, which can be found wherever you find your favorite podcast, at Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. For Riley Smith, Dustin Huffman, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.